So many books, so little time. And the time is shrinking faster all the time as email, social media, and web surfing compete with the time that used to be available just for relaxing over a good book. But for those hardcore book lovers, payback is at hand this weekend at the North Shire Bookstore with the return of Booktopia, an author-reader get-together the bookstore has held since 2011. Originally launched as a podcast called Books on the Nightstand in 2008 by Michael Kindness and Ann Kingman, two sales representatives from Random House Publishing. The event brings together about 100 readers with a group of authors, 9 this year, who have all recently finished a book, said Tracy Davies, the marketing and events coordinator at the bookstore.
It's sort of funny in a sense that during our normal events here at the bookstore, usually the discussion is sort of led by the author, of course, and there's always Q&A. But with Booktopia, it tends to be a little different, whereas the attendees sort of run the show in a sense because they've prepared basically for this event. I have asked different publishers to give me their lead for the season. Basically the one author that they feel like is going to be their hit for that season, and I was able to get many of them for this event. So that we have 9 authors, 9 books, and I've read 7 so far.
One of the 9 authors coming to talk and answer questions from readers is Jim Shepard, an English professor at Williams College and the author of several books and collections of stories. His latest work is a collection called The World to Come, and he discussed the book and his writing in a recent interview.
One of the stories in the new collection is about the Franklin expedition, which is the probably the most catastrophic event in British naval history. It's about an attempt in the 19th century, a real attempt, to find a Northwest Passage that went horribly awry and ended up ending in cannibalism. So it's one of the great nightmarish moments in sort of British self-understanding. There's another story that's based on the largest cyclone to hit Queensland, northeastern Australia, in recorded history. There's another story about a young woman on the frontier in the early 19th century. The frontier then would be western New York, eastern Ohio, who has a fairly decent marriage but only one good friend, another woman who lives a few miles away, and that woman moves away, and the sort of minor catastrophe of what it means to have one friend and have that friend move away never to return kind of thing. So, as you might guess from those descriptions, I tend to write a lot about catastrophe, which has taken me from being a faintly worrisome fringe figure to now in 2017 somebody who just looks like he's reading the papers,
Booktopia is also the sort of event that gives readers more time to talk with authors than is typical at readings and book conferences.
There's a lot of organized events, and then there's usually a fairly small block of time set aside to just sort of informally socialize with the authors and ask them the questions you always wanted to ask. Booktopia seems organized in the opposite way, where it's mostly informal time with the authors. And I think people appreciate that. They appreciate, just going to stand around and hear what they want to talk about, and let the people who have agendas set the agendas, as opposed to going from one panel discussion to another kind of thing. There are a few organized events at Booktopia, but it seems like it's mostly about access and informality, which is nice.
Booktopia's co-founders turned over the event to the North Shire Bookstore last year, and the bookstore is running and coordinating it. It starts Friday, May 5th, with a dinner and a gathering of readers and authors at the Inn at Manchester, followed by a day of author sessions and questions and answers at the bookstore. The final event, which starts at 6 p.m. Saturday, May 6th, is open to the general public.
It really allows for the authors and the people in the room to really just have a conversation. So it's very, very casual, and honestly, by the end of the weekend, everybody's friends.
For the GNAT TV News Project, I'm Andrew McKeever.